guys, my name is Crystal. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome old subscribers, welcome new. If you like my videos, please press the like button and please do subscribe. Alexa, what's the time, please?
It's 5:34 p.m.
Right, hi, I'm Crystal. I've just got back from my mum's, about half an hour ago now, about 5 o'clock. We got caught up in a bit of traffic near the Strood Bridge. Where it was leading up to the Strood Bridge, and the taxi got caught up in some traffic. So the taxi was about £3 more than it usually is. Right guys, so I came back from walking my dog this morning, Max, and there's no post. I've had no post. I got Amazon delivery yesterday. I got some dog food, cat food and cat litter ready for over the weekend. I went out to the co-op before I took Max out for a walk this morning, came back in, then I went out to the co-op to check my bank balance at the ATM by the co-op, and there was enough money for me to get some food for over the weekend, so I got myself some bits and pieces which I'll show you later on. Basically I got back into my flat and my mum had called me twice. Normally my mum only calls me once. So she called me twice. I thought there was something wrong, so I rang my mother Jennifer back, and she kindly offered for me to go up there for a couple of hours because she wanted to make sure I had everything for over the weekend. And I said, well, arrange a taxi for 12 lunchtime because I had to sort Max out. It was getting on for 11:30 because I'd been to the co-op as well, so I needed to get Max all ready and comfortable and sort the cats out and make sure they was okay and just sort a few things out. So I said, Mum, order the taxi for about lunchtime, 12 o'clock. So I potted around the flat, tidied up, got things ready, put things away as you do, and a black car arrived at the flats. I waited 10 minutes for this taxi. The traffic's been terrible. So I waited over 10 minutes for this taxi. Beforehand, a black car turned up with another woman at the flats with black hair, and she got out of this big car and took about 6 or 7 bags out, and the male driver helped her take her bags out, and he put them on the pavement for her. And she came into the flats because I was stood on the balcony watching out for my taxi because I don't want to wait outside for 10-15 minutes when I can just look over the balcony and see if the taxi's coming. So after that happened, the lady came in. About 10 minutes afterwards, I went downstairs to a taxi that was waiting outside my flat. Got into the taxi, very posh taxi. It was an Asian driver with a moustache and a cap on his head. I was wearing my white cap, and he was very quiet but very nice and polite, and it was a very posh interior design in his car. There was like a temperature with buttons on it to keep the temperature going, and it was really nice, and it had like leather seats. It was an Audi. It was a taxi and it was an Audi. It was a really nice car. Nice smooth drive. He drove me up to the top of Durrell Gardens. I paid for the taxi, and my mum was about to come out and pay the driver, and Sue, her neighbour, had her back turned to me like she was tending to some plants. So I went inside my mum's flat and I sat down where Dad used to sit, my father. The table was empty because my mum usually puts crisps, sweets, etc. on there. It was empty. I sat down. My mum told me to put the television on, and we just sat down. We had a chat. I watched bits and pieces of what's going on outside Buckingham Palace, the preparations for the coronation tomorrow. I watched a documentary about the royal family, the divorces of the Queen's children, and heartaches that they'd been through. I then watched some episodes on the television, bits and pieces of the news, For in a Bed, the hotel series, and my mum kindly did some washing for me because my washing machine is broken and I haven't replaced it yet. It was pretty quiet and smooth. There was no phone calls, and my mum asked me if I would like a takeaway, and I said, well, if you want me to have one, Mum. She said, I do, because I want to make sure you're eating, because I told my mum what had been going on with all these takeaways, etc., and how it had been distressing me. And she said, I want to make sure you're eating, so she got me a delivery from Super Pizza. So I had some coleslaw, I had some chicken bites, I had corn on the cob, and I had the banoffee pie. And the burger was missing. I'd ordered a chicken burger, and the burger wasn't in the delivery. And that's fair enough, but that was the main part of the meal. That was the main part of the meal, because the others are just snacks and appetizers. So the main part of the meal was missing. There was no chicken burger. And I'm sure I heard my mum say over the phone everything that was on that list. So it arrived with no chicken burger, and my mum said it was an elderly male that came to her door, and she paid less, so I guess they just either didn't have the chicken burger, or my mum may not have ordered the chicken burger, but I'm sure I heard her say chicken burger, but never mind. So I ate the corn on the cob. I dipped the chicken bites in the coleslaw. There was about 5 or 6 small pieces of little balls of chicken. So I dipped that in the coleslaw, and I had the corn on the cob. I'd gone to the co-op earlier on, and I'd got things for tomorrow, like in case I wanted to go out. I've got some ham and chicken to go in sandwiches, so I can make little triangle sandwiches of my own. And I've got bits and pieces to take if I wanted to sit outside and watch the screen outside the castle gardens. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, so I'm not sure. I might just watch it on the TV, I don't know. I asked my mum what time it is, and she said I think it's 10 or 11 or something. So I don't know yet. So I ate my takeaway, and my mum was talking about my dad again. She kept talking about my late departed father. Which obviously, if it helps my mum to talk about my dad and let it all out, then just let her get on with it. At times, what she was saying was slightly scary. The thing is, when your parents get old, it can be hard to take and hard to deal with. I'm not going to shout at my mum. She's elderly, and I'm not going to have a go at her, because it might be an illness that she's getting as she's getting older. But basically, when I was leaving to go home, she said Jennifer won't get her throat slit. And if Jennifer gets her throat slit, it'll be because she's having an operation for her neck, a goiter. And that made me scared. She said Jennifer may get her throat cut if she needs an operation on her throat, because my mum had a goiter. And I started to get panicky, because I suffer from anxiousness and depression, and when my mum was talking about someone having their throat cut, it alarmed me. And I started to get scared, and I started to get palpitations. I didn't say anything. She's my mum, and she's a bit eccentric, and the way she describes things and talks to people is totally different to me. I would never dream of saying that to somebody. That was when I was on my way out to get into the taxi to go home. So I was rather frightened and wary and scared. I had to get into a taxi with a man. I'd already been threatened 2 days ago. So when my mum said that, I was not happy, put it that way. My mum gave me things. She gave me coffee, she gave me sweets, she gave me chewing gum, she gave me candy floss. But then I have to weigh it up and say to myself, is being given all these things worth being put through what I just went through? And I have to weigh it up. You know, I'm being given food, I'm being given money, I'm, you know, being looked after in that respect, but is it worth being frightened out of your life for? Is it? And I sometimes wonder, but she is my mum, and however scary it gets, I'll ride the rocky road. And it is scary. And I've also been told that people with dementia and Alzheimer's, they sometimes forget who their family is, and they can be aggressive and hit their family. So I'm not looking forward to that if that happens. Because my grandmother got like that. She started hitting her husband about. And it's very hard for a carer to deal with that, isn't it? Someone attacking you and hitting you and saying that I'm guilty. What am I guilty of? Caring? What am I guilty of? I was told I was guilty. And I don't see what I'm guilty of. And from going from like feeling happy, going into the co-op, trying to be independent, mix and say hello with people, I've got someone like putting me down, saying I'm hogging all the limelight, I'm getting all the attention, and I'm guilty. And I fail to see what I'm guilty of. I just care about people. I care about people, I care about the environment, I care about animals, I care about the world, and I'm guilty. So that hurt. I took that. There was no provocation. I was just sat there being quiet. So I took that. And then she just comes out when I'm going home. Jennifer might have to have her throat cut. And it just came out of nowhere. Nowhere. And I just went, what did you say that for? What did you say that for? What did you honestly say that for? Just then, just now, I'm going home and I live by myself. What did you say that for? And that's all I said. What did you say that for? What a horrible thing to say. Because again, I was accused of copying my mother. My mum said I was copying her. Now, I bought these trainers online from Fitness UK. And I didn't realise my mum's got a navy blue pair of these trainers. She's got a navy blue pair with a pink underneath. I didn't know. And I got accused of trying to be my mother. And that's why I think she said Jennifer's going to get her throat cut. Which isn't very nice at all, but I'm putting it down to her age. And I can't do any more than just put up with that. But to come home after that said, and I live alone in my flat, and I've been attacked by delivery drivers, is very, very scary and it's very hurtful. And what am I guilty of? Please do tell. What am I guilty of? I was just sat there, sat down quiet, and I get accused of being guilty. And it was just unnecessary. But she's apologised. She said, I'm sorry for sounding off. She's just rung me and said, did you get home safely, Genestra? and she's apologised for sounding off, but that was scary. So I've come back home in a taxi. Taxi driver was really nice chap. Put my bags in the boot, opened the boot, took them out, and he talked to me all the way through the journey because I was scared. I was like nervous, and he talked to me all the way through the journey that put me at my ease. Got out of the taxi, checked my post box, no post, didn't expect any, came up in the lift, and everything seems to be as it was as I left the flat this afternoon. So that's fine by me. But when someone accuses you of being guilty, I just hope I don't get any more trouble with unwanted takeaways and abuse from delivery drivers, because I've been accused of being guilty, but I don't know what of. And I certainly wouldn't want to copy my mother. Every time I go round to my mum, I'm accused of trying to be my mother. This is the Super Pizza bag. This is the banoffee pie, which I usually get. And there was no burger, but I did have chicken bites. There's the rest of the coleslaw in a tub. We have a bottle of White Rock mineral water and blackcurrant Ribena. But for any carer or relative that is going through what I'm going through, where I've got a parent accusing me of trying to be her, verbally aggressive and frightening me, saying Jennifer's going to get her throat cut because she said I was copying her. And why would I be guilty of copying my mother? This is where it can get dangerous, and she's getting no help and support at all. No help and support at all. Every time I go around there, I'm getting accused of being my mother. And I fail to see why I'd want to be a 76-year-old lady. I really do. It's terrifying. So, I'm just going to show you one thing I got from the Co-op this morning, because my video footage is going to run out. Co-op Greek menu halloumi salad wrap. A halloumi salad wrap. I was going to have that for my lunch. Had I took it round my mum's, that would have replaced the burger that wasn't in the takeaway. Right, I'll probably do another video when my phone is charged up properly, and I hope everybody has a lovely weekend, and I'll see you later.